Good. All right. In first lesson, we start to look at the MySQL. So basically, what is oh, actually no. We had an introduction to MySQL. MySQL is one of the many relational database management systems. It's open source, free, and good for both small and large applications. Web-based web-based web app. We call it a web app. Web-based application or online application, or dex, desktop or server side. So different kind of computer applications or softwares can talk to MySQL. And database table is collection of data, related data entries. It contains columns, rows. So relational database, basically, the tables relate to each other through a common column or common data. Um, you know, uh, uh, you know, more than one table have the same data, then that that can establish the relationship between two tables. Homeworks. So I don't give you too many homeworks. But I just give you, normally a few to think about it. If you have tried it, that's great. If not, and we can, look at it together. So what is MySQL? We just we just previewed, and yeah, and we don't have to go through again. So first, MySQL is a open source relational database. Database table is collection of data entries or records, rows, and columns. Relational database define relationships using tables. Um, so today, Kevin got a question. Go ahead.
Can I please use the bathroom?
Go ahead. You can go.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep. Yep. Um, so today we are going to really study the language MySQL uses. MySQL use SQL, SQL. Some people call it SQL. You can call it a SQL, or that's fine. I just use SQL. Some people use SQL. Either way, it should be fine. Um, what does it stand for? I think is forgot sequential query language. Let me look up actually. I just use it so much and forgot what A stands for. A stands for structured. Sorry, not SQL. Sequential, structured. Yeah, because we are talking about the tables. Table is a structured columns, rows, so it's a structured data. Um, versus unstructured data. If you have a paragraph and then all the information stuck in your text paragraph or multiple pages, that's unstructured data. And speaking unstructured, nowadays, the machine learning basically is to extract the data from unstructured data. So that's more advanced topic. Um, so the MySQL or any relational databases only store structured data. Structured data means in the tables you got the columns, rows, all very well defined structured. So SQL stands for structured query language. Okay, I'm going to add that information here actually. What is SQL? SQL standard language for dealing with relational. That's kind of just the use of SQL, not really the definition of SQL. So I'm going to add that. SQL, oh, SQL syntax. Look at that. I got a typo there. I will fix that. SQL, it's a language. You know, in any language, you talk about some keywords, and SQL doesn't use that many keywords. So it just uses a field like select, or from, or where, or update, insert, delete, and so on. Only a few more, not a lot. So we will learn each of them, okay, in great details. Uh, Speaking the syntax, for example, in last class we started to use select star or wildcard called star from customers and semicolon. So this called a SQL statement, or like in language a sentence or command a sentence. This is called a statement. This statement selects all records. The star means everything you can think of. So basically, every rows, every record in this customers table, oh, not as table, from the customers table. So you select every row and return them. By the way, the SQL keywords are case insensitive or they are not case sensitive. That means if you use a lowercase select and lowercase from, that's totally fine. So, but but we use uppercase to indicate that this is SQL keywords. So it's versus is the values or table names, database names, or other information. So normally we use uppercase SQL keywords. But if you forgot to use uppercase, that's fine. Semicolon, yes. Semicolon, yes. This is the language. Semicolon, just like the period in English, like a dot, means end of the statement. So, but in practical use, you probably need to have multiple SQL statements stacked together, or multiple statements, and but how to separate them? Use semicolon. So use semicolon means this is the end of one statement, start another one statement, and then another semicolon. That's end of the second statement, and so on. So semicolon is required. Okay. Okay, that's a basic syntax. Let's start look at the select. So we are going to look at select. We're going to look at where. From, it's kind of, we don't have to really look at from because the from basically from the table. So you want to select something from a table. So there are not that many variation. Well, there's no variation with from. So that's why we won't spend too much time on from, but we do want to spend more time on select and where. Okay, so let's look at the select. Select is keyword or statement. The select statement used to select data from database or table, and the data return is stored in a result table. It's called a result set. So it's the result set is stored in memory. Okay, it's not. So you have to process the return the result. You select something, you get the result back or the data back. You have to process the data, and then you can either do some computation or analysis or store those data to a file and so on, or display them to a web page. It's up to you. So the basic syntax of select statement is, as we saw before, select. And here, instead of use star, we want to select column 1 column 2, or so on. As long as those columns are defined or included in the table, and that's fine. Select columns from a table name. Okay. Um, so the dot dot here means you can have multiple columns. This is useful when you have many columns in a table, and then you only need a few columns, not all the columns. Because if you select everything, then you probably get all the data, unnecessary data back, and that take time and take network bandwidth. Okay, so only only select those columns you need. If you don't need them, don't select them. Don't make your query faster and use less network. Um, but sometimes for convenience, say, my table only has like 10 columns and I need 6 or 7 of them, then you probably can skip, the specifying the columns. You just select everything and then use some of them, and then for the rest, just ignore them. So that's totally fine. But if you have like 50 columns, 100 columns in a table, you probably don't want to select everything. You do need to select the specific columns you need. So that's this. This is the general syntax. As shown here, if you do want to select all the fields, or yeah, the fields columns, that's the same thing. So you select all the fields, all the columns, that's fine. That means the same thing. If you want to select all, then just use that syntax. Use this is called a wildcard or the star here. Okay, let's look at an example here. So we have the customers table from the example database. We have the customers table. And now we want to select the customer name and where this customer is located, the city, and from which country. So we only need those 3 fields or 3 columns from the customer table. So let's try it. So we have a link here, and that's the statement. We just run the SQL statement. Now I see that we got a customer name, we got city, we got country. All right, so 3 columns, and how many in total? This is the database information. This is this is from the W W3 schools, their example database. So they said their customer table has 91 records and some other tables. The order detail, 2000. But for customer, they got 91 customers. So we select the 3 columns of all 91. All 91. So if yeah, number of records, 91. I think, how do you set up your own database? Ethan, don't worry about that. And because setting up a database, it may take a while depending on what computer you use. Um, I will maybe before the next lesson I can come up with the instruction and yeah, we can give it a try. It may take a while to make it work. Okay. Um, yeah, you can run the MySQL database on your computer. That's no problem. Yeah, we will do that later in the class. But for now, let's focus on the SQL language itself. Okay. Yeah, this is the query. Select the 3 columns. Um, but you think, hey, how about I don't need the country information. I only need 2. Oh, by the way, columns separated by by a comma, and the last one you don't need. If you do that, then that's a syntax error. So that won't say give you error. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the menu, blah blah. So basically, in here, just like you don't need that comma. Um, See now only 2 columns, name and city, And you say, oh, I only need a customer name. Just select customer name from customers. Now only customer name. Yeah, no matter how many columns you defined, you always get the 91 total number of records. That's because we don't limit what records we want. We want to select all records, but only one column. So that's a query, okay? Okay, that's a query. And then try this one. Let's say, okay, I want to select everything, of course. Yeah, I think we know that. So select everything. We don't have even try that. We just come here, just change it. Select that star means everything. And now you can see that we got many more, you know, columns, right? Not just customer name and the city and the country. We got customer ID, postcode, address, contact name, and even the ID up to 91, right? Okay. So that's select everything. Oh, the next one is select distinct statement. Why do we need a distinct? Well, inside table, a column can have many duplicate values. And sometimes you only want to list the different values. Um, you don't want to list all the repeated values. You just want to see the different values, right? Or called different values or distinct or unique. You just add a distinct after select. For example, yeah, you just add a distinct. For example, without distinct, if we want to select country from the customer table, come here, country, and if we run that, now you can see the country got okay, Germany, Mexico, UK, Sweden, Germany again, France, Spain, France, UK, Mexico again, UK. You still get a 91, but in many cases say, hey, I only want to know all the countries that my customers are from. I don't, you know, Mexico, that counted as two countries. No, that should be counted as one. I shouldn't get a 91 countries, right? I should get all the unique countries. This is maybe only 20 or 30, not 91. So how to suppress those duplicates, Then distinct is the thing you want to use. Distinct. I thought some database use unique, but could be wrong. Distinct. That means, okay, fine, you select all the countries out, but don't show the repeats, just show once. If you see Germany, just show Germany once. If you see Mexico, show Mexico once, not the second or third, something like that. So let's try that, distinct. Now see 21. Oh, I guess so close. Yeah. Now you can see you don't see duplicates anymore. You see Germany, Mexico ones, yeah, they are unique. They are all different country names, but no duplicates or repeats. So that's called a distinct. Okay. Yeah, for distinct, you can have multiple columns. You can have multiple columns. Um, let's see how we. Let's see if we delete that. Put that star. Run again. Let's see. Let's see if we have same city and same country. Let's try that. Oh, how about this one? Yeah, the city. Just wait 10 minutes. Upgrade now to remove. What? I got a warning saying the meeting will end in 10 minutes. Did I use the wrong link? Let me kill that. If the meeting ends in 10 minutes, please click the link join again, or or watch your email. I may send an email. I hope not. So this Zoom is there's supposed to be no limit. But anyway, let's continue. So let's see this customer two from Mexico DF. So we can city, country. That's repeats. So now if we select city, country, run that. Now this is a repeat, right? Look at that. That's the repeat. This row and this row and this row, they are the same. Then we can add a distinct, wrong. Yeah. See, now it's instead of 91 records, now it's 69. So we remove the duplicates. So so basically distinct can distinct multiple columns, okay? Or even the whole row, not just one column. Distinct, good, distinct. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can use distinct to get the unique values, or you can also count all the unique values rows. So you can add this function called a count, and then distinct country, and then use a count, just like here. Yeah, we see the number record 69. You can use a count. You can count how many rows you got. Run that. The result should be 69. Yeah, 69. If you don't use distinct, then it's 91. Error. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Why can't I count that? You can count a distinct, you can count a without. That's a interesting thing. I will find out why. If I remove that, I'm expecting 91. It says you can't counter. See, I think I use near country. Well, I guess it doesn't like. I will find out. Okay. Yep. How about one columns? I think you can count one column. Okay, so one is okay. Not two, unless you use distinct. Wow, that's really funny. That's really funny. Okay, then I will find out later. Let's continue. We look at the select statement. Oh, any questions on select? If no, let's continue with where. MySQL where clause. We don't call it a where statement. We call it a where clause because the where define actually the condition. It used to extract those records that fulfill the specific condition, or that only those rows that meet the condition. So the condition is defined after where. So that's why I call it a where clause. It's used to filter records. So the syntax is you have select and the from table and then where. Where means the condition. So we don't want to select all the rows from the table. If the table is really large, we don't want to select everything. We want to only select those that meet this condition. Okay. For example, I want to select all the customers from the customers table where the customers are from Mexico. So all the customers country name equals to Mexico. All right. So let's try that. Select that. Let's see if we just select the customers from Mexico. Yeah, sure it does. Even the same city. Yeah. So that's how you use a where. Um, or you can change the value. USA is all those USA. Or you want to change your condition or where from like which city. Let's see if someone from New York. New York. Nope, no one from New York, huh? If I just highlight and run it, it doesn't. It take everything. Um, Let me delete that. I want to see which city, so we can use the city. Oh, by the way, if you only have one SQL statement, you don't have to use semicolon. That's optional. Only if you have multiple statements, actually. Okay. So, okay, city. Any city? Oh, no. Any USA city? Walla Walla. Is that a city name? Oh, Portland. Okay, fine, Portland. So then you can limit at where city Portland. There, bingo. So you can use where city equal to Portland. Only two customers. Okay, that's the where. Uh, oh, text or numerical values. See, this is a text. When you have a text, you need to quote the value with single quote. And some databases allow double quote. Let's see if that's the case. Double quote. I normally use single quote. Um, Time left 130 minutes. Darn, why? My meeting warned me I only have 1 minute left. I thought this meeting is from, oh man. Yeah. If we all get connected, we can all try to click the same link, see if we can join the same meeting again, okay? Let's continue here. I use double quote, wrong query. Hmm? Oh yeah, so double is okay. Double is okay, all right? So you can either use single or double to quote this is a value, but don't quote the column name. This is the called a column name. If you quote that, single quote, I think no. Yeah. So if you quote, then it become a value, then it get confused. So don't quote that. And also when you use refer to the column name, because you only have one table involved here. We are here. Less than a minute. I think we are here. I'm watching the warning.